Your new FTW World's Champion, the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, as he adds another nickname to the long list of other nicknames that he has. He's got a whole separate list of Jericho for just his nicknames. Jericho beat Hook at AEW Dynasty, and it came with a whole lot of controversy. First, just for the fact that he beat Hook. You know, it is good for Hook to put over a good young upstart like Chris Jericho, you know, give him the rub, if you will. But a lot of people didn't seem to like it, and they didn't seem to like it during the match itself, where we had several chants for Chris Jericho. I think the first one that was noticeable was Hockey Sucks, in the form of Rocky Sucks, which, hey, that's funny. You know, Chris Jericho's a hockey guy. Hockey sucks. That's funny. But then it went to Please Go Home. Please Go Home, I believe, was the next chant from the fans. And Jericho started to notice this. This was registering on Jericho's face during the match, if you noticed. He would look at the crowd and he would have a look on his face. He noticed, but it got worse as the crowd then chanted, "Please retire. Please retire." Check out this clip. I snagged a little clippy clip of this off of my phone, actually, for this. So just bear with this clip.
We'll see if Jericho can get a cover. He might get the win here. I don't want to see him win the FTW title.
I get that, but man, well, at least they're to their knees.
So as I said earlier, Jericho noticed this. He took notice of the comments from the crowd. And Jericho's always prided himself on kind of having his finger on the pulse of the audience, of the crowd, what the people want. And that sort of fueled his character changes and his heel and babyface turns, and when he leaves a company, takes a break, when he comes back. He's always prided himself on that. He always brags about that. And even on his most recent podcast, he was talking about, or one of the more recent podcasts, he was talking about how he considers himself still towards the top of his game at his age. So it doesn't seem like Jericho is ready to hang up the boots, or doesn't think that he's at that place where he needs to hang up the boots. But why does the crowd want Jericho to hang up the boots? That's what's fascinating. I gotta tell you, this kind of surprised me. I know Jericho's not the most well-liked person right now. I know more of that kind of, or at least it kind of got amplified during that whole Kylie Ray situation, which nothing ever came out of. Everybody that said something or hinted about it online, you know, Kylie Ray, Nick Hausman, and some other fangirl Twitter account. I reached out to all of them personally during that time to ask for just some kind of details. Show your proof. All of them were saying they heard or saying Jericho did dirty things backstage in relation to Kylie Ray or whatever, made an advance on her that was inappropriate kind of thing. But nobody can back it up. Nobody has a copy of an NDA they want to leak. Nobody, you know, which are, look, fuck you if you think NDAs are worth the paper they're printed on. Yeah, they're just not. You can go out and you can find ways to speak around that, especially if they're being used to cover up any kind of crime. So if Jericho committed a crime and an NDA was used to cover it up, then the NDA is null and void. If Jericho just made a pass at her, which is a typical thing that a man will do to a woman from time to time, I know a lot of you nerds sitting in your mom's basement, I'm sorry for that. I shouldn't have even gone there. I have the utmost respect for you folks watching, but look, the typical wrestling fan, we all know it's none of us because we're all successful and great people, right? But for the rest of the wrestling fans that sit in their mom's basement and fucking eat their boogers and stuff, these people don't know any better. They don't know how to go out and get chicks, right? So they don't know how that works. Oh, Jericho hit on a girl, lock him up, arrest him, fire him. Doesn't work that way. Did he do something illegal? Well, everybody that says he did won't cough up any proof about it. So, Fuck them. I tend to not believe it at that point. But I think it has done its damage. I think it's reached a lot of people that have given people a poor impression of Chris Jericho or a sour taste in their mouth. And look, I'm a little burnt out on Jericho myself. He's always been one of my favorites as far as I respect the entrepreneurship, right? Like, I respect going out and doing movies. When he was in the fucking Terrifier movie, I love the Terrifier series, right? There's Chris Jericho. Fozzy is an actual legitimate, nationally, worldwide touring band that draws a house. They fucking sell out buildings. They sell out buildings in my city. So I know for a fact they're a legit draw. But in the ring, he's a little meh lately, right? I don't know what he's trying to do with Hook, and I don't know what he's trying to do with the Lionheart Chris Jericho. I think the Lionheart thing is a complete and total miss. I think when Jericho comes out and he's got some generic Lionheart music and stuff, I think people in the crowd kind of look at it and go, what the fuck, what is he doing right now? And beating Hook, look, I'm sure they got some kind of plan going on where, down the line, Hook will get his revenge and end up getting one over on Jericho and getting that title back. But in the meantime, we have Jericho beating Hook on live pay-per-view, winning the FTW title. Why do we need an FTW title to begin with? But let's say that you can convince me that we need an FTW title. Why does Chris Jericho need the FTW title? It doesn't make any sense. Though, if I was Chris Jericho, I'd be like, trying to collect he's the Ocho and everything. He's trying to collect, accolades, right? So adding the FTW title, that's a rare, it's like the $1 million title, right? Very few people have ever held this actual championship because it's meant for one person. It was meant for Taz, and now it's meant for Hook. I actually approve of Jericho working with Hook. Jericho's working with the young guys because, one, he's worked with all the old guys. What's he going to do? Work with Edge? Been there, done that. Working with these young guys also teaches them in the ring, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys actually were aware of this or not, but when you work in the ring with a veteran, you are going to learn things from said veteran. I am sure Hook will be able to tell you 3 different things he learned from working with Jericho just in that match. Another thing or 2 just from working with Jericho in promos and shit. So this is good for Hook as long as it doesn't kill his credibility, which, this pay-per-view win didn't help. So why does everybody want Jericho to go home? Why do they want Jericho to retire? That's mean, by the way. That is a cold-hearted, mean-ass chant to throw at Chris Jericho. Does he deserve it? Does he need to retire? I don't know. That's a tough one. Me personally, I wouldn't say I'm ready for that yet, but I can also agree that Jericho is not as good as he used to be, and Jericho hasn't really been off of TV all that much. Jericho doesn't really get injured, if you've noticed. For the 5 years that AEW has been on TV, Jericho has pretty much been on TV that whole time. Babyface, heel, champion, lay champion, the fucking couple different factions, blood and guts, all that stuff. He's been there. He's done that. I just think, he is not where he used to be. And what is it kind of a diminishing returns at this point? I think if you're Jericho and you hear the crowd chanting, please retire, boy. First of all, we know Jericho's got the biggest ego on the planet, so that had to be an absolute kick in the balls. I know, dude, if everybody was in my comments going, please quit, please quit, please quit, please quit, please quit. Don't do that, by the way. That would be mean. I'll go cry. But that would take its toll on you, right? It would make you rethink your whole life choices. Jericho's got to really look himself in the mirror now and decide what he wants to do with that. Maybe it was an isolated thing. Maybe it was just that St. Louis crowd. To be honest with you, I don't watch Dynamite a whole lot anymore. So I can't tell you what the week-to-week chants are for Jericho in the moment. But it's something to monitor. Is it something that was just isolated with them? Do you see how you are... you just proceed with your storyline with Hook and see how the fans are taking you during that storyline, and then decide from there, see if it's just, one city or if it seems to be everybody. Maybe you go away for a little bit. Maybe you take some time off. Now, the other thing with that is that Chris is at the age right now where if he takes time off, he may never come back. He may not be able to. If he gets ring rust at his age, it might be impossible to get any semblance of that back in him to have a whole nother run. It would slow him down. It's like when old people stop being active and they just sit on the couch and knit all day. They're going to die quicker than they would if they were still going out and playing golf and fucking, whatever the fuck, hitting the rummage sale scenes and whatever else old people do. I don't fucking know. Go to the grocery store really early in the morning before everybody else. But Jericho needs to really look in the mirror and evaluate that. He needs to listen to the crowd because the crowd's going to tell him the truth. One city, maybe not. If he starts hearing please retire in the next city, in the next city, in the next city, or at least a couple out of those, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. I don't know what Jericho's hanging on for. It could be part of his ego. Look, when I was a rapper, I still remember, I miss it so much. I remember very fondly. Those of you may have even seen I'm doing bulk uploads of like past concert videos and shit. So you'll probably be seeing those speckled throughout. But, back in my rapper days, man, I loved that shit. But that time has passed me now. I'm at the age right now where it's not probably not cool to come out and be the rapper guy. You know what I mean? Not that that's in my heart of hearts to still be a rapper. Hey, yo, what up, yo? That's just not me anymore. But it still hurts to let shit go from your past. That's a significant part of your past. It's a blow to the ego. And Jericho... he likes to call himself an entrepreneur. He likes to call him, I don't know if he used those exact words, but he likes to fancy himself a guy that does this and does that. He's the wrestler, the rock star, the podcast host. He does it all. The actor. He likes having those things that he can bust out. And now, if he can't call himself a wrestler and say, I'm still doing it to the, at the top of my game, or near the top of my game, as he likes to tell other people that don't know better. He was recently interviewing somebody on his thing, and he was using that as an example. He was just like, oh, like me, I'm at my age, I'm still at near the top of my game. You're not. But you like to think that. I like Chris Jericho. I think his character... We need his character and his personality in wrestling, but maybe it just needs a break for a little bit, and maybe he doesn't belong in the ring anymore, or maybe his matches need to be fewer and further between. I don't know. I don't know the answer here because I'm not the one chanting, please retire. But I can concur that I think Jericho's lost a step or two, a couple steps. And I can also concur that he's been on our TV a long-ass time here, without really giving us any kind of break. And I think in wrestling, when you see somebody week after week after week after week after week, and then on top of that, they're in angles and storylines with people you'd rather not see them in storylines with, and they're beating those people and winning their titles. I don't know. I think it breeds frustration in people. And I think that's where that comes from. And I think if you give people a little break on Jericho, allow people to miss you a little bit. If you're Chris Jericho, go away, come back, in 2025. Take the whole rest of the goddamn year off. Be there, backstage, help out. Because, we've all heard that he's basically an EVP without the title. So you don't want to just take him out of the backstage, though some people would argue that we probably need to do that too. But it is interesting. We don't hear those chants very often. And those are not, oh, we don't like you. Don't let anybody fucking fool you, tell you any different, that this is just heel heat. Oh, Jericho's really pissing off the crowd. He's really got that heel heat. They're telling him to retire. No. And don't let him spin it that way, because he might try to say that. He's going to do a thing. They announced he's going to be addressing the crowd on Dynamite tonight as I record this. So maybe there'll be more information, but him being the FTW champion, it'll be interesting to hear if the crowd chants please retire at him again tonight. This is something to follow, something to look out for. But Jericho, if he wants to continue working, he needs to give the fans a little bit of a break, I think, at this point. And if he does not want to leave, then he's probably going to continue to get that kind of go-away heat, the X-Pac heat that he doesn't want. This is not good heat. Don't let anybody tell you that it is. When people want you to retire and go away, that's bad. It's go-away heat. There's a term for it. That means they don't love to hate you. They just hate you. They just fuck off. I don't know if it's Jericho's politics, his wife's politics, is the rumors from Kylie Ray, or just the fact that he's old, out of shape, slower than he used to be, and he's overly abundant on the show and involved in everything that you don't want him to be, in ways that you don't want him to be, pushed like you don't want him to be. I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys, to be honest with you. Please let me know your thoughts down in those comments below. Hit the thumbs up while you're down there, or subscribe if you haven't. Helps me out greatly. But I really want to know your thoughts. Where do you stand personally on Chris Jericho? Are you in the please retire camp? And if so, why? Don't just say, yeah, Jericho needs to retire. Give me your reasoning. Why do you never want to see Chris Jericho on TV ever again? If you're pro Jericho, give me those thoughts too. Or if you're kind of in the middle like me, I'd love to hear from you. I just want everybody's opinion on this. I'd like to gauge what other people have to say other than the St. Louis live audience. But we'll leave it there and maybe follow up on the story depending on where it goes. Peace, love, and pizza. I am your boy, Seth Grimes. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next motherfucker. Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.